In this video we are going to discuss grids, why everyone talking about grids and how to use them in your designs. Grids help designers to create structured and organized projects. They tie different elements together and create a system. Grids help you build a visual hierarchy and achieve consistency with little effort. So what are grids? They are just guidelines that create a structure for the elements, and it can be applied to any element. For example, you might notice that in art galleries, their works are often structured in one line and with the same interval if the space allows it. These invisible lines also create a structure and can be called grids. The first grids appeared long before UX/UI design existed. They appeared with the first books. And I'm not even talking about printed books, I'm talking about handwritten one. The writers had to draw their lines to help them organize the content. Could you imagine, for every book, for every page, they had to draw the lines and then gently erase it? And grids as we know them today appeared by the influence of Swiss typography. During the First World War, the Switzerland remained neutral and became a meeting place for the creative people all around Europe. Switzerland has 3 official languages: German, Italian, and French, so all brochures and other printed material had to be produced in 3 languages. To maintain the structure, designers needed a new grid system, and such designers as Jan Tschichold and Herbert Bayer introduced a new modular approach. For the first time, they've used a negative space as a dynamic component in the layout, and this led to the development of complex grid system. And here are good news for you. Grids in the interface are much simpler. In UI design, we often use just evenly distributed columns, and the number of columns can vary, so the content is structured by the columns. The most popular grid for the desktop used 12 columns. 12 can be divided by 3 and by 4, which gives you some flexibility in arranging the content. 12 columns for large desktops are also suggested by Material Design Guidelines and Bootstrap. Bootstrap is the popular framework for the developers. 12 columns is the most popular grid, but it's not the only one. You might need to build your own according to your needs. 12 columns is just recommendation and it's not the law. For example, Twitter and Facebook use 10 columns, 2 of which are allocated for navigation, 5 columns for the main content, and 3 columns for the additional content. And many desktop apps use 1 column with fixed size for side navigation and other columns that are responsive. For a mobile screen, it's even easier. It's either 2 or 4 columns. So that's it? You just build the columns and align the content to it? Of course not. There is also something else. To create a good visual hierarchy, we need a sizing system. And this one is very important. Please notice, you cannot have random sizes or random spacing. It creates chaos. Everything should match the unit system. And it's not only about visual hierarchy. If the sizing is random, it's very difficult for the developers to implement your design neatly. Material Design Guidelines suggest you to use the unit system based on 8. So all the sizes should be divisible by 8, and the system can have either arithmetic or geometric progression. Similar units we also used in our course. You can find them in our basic design system. Okay, enough theory. In the next video we are going to go to Figma and create our own grid.